The 1850s was a decade of great change in Sydney, where the population doubled following the gold rushes. In response to this growth, in 1856, Bishop Frederick Barker established the Church Society to build new churches and fund clergy. By the time Bishop Barker died in 1882, the Church Society had already played a major role in the growth of the Anglican Church throughout Sydney, the colony of New South Wales, and beyond. The crippling depression of the 1890s saw a third of all working-class people unemployed, with many losing their savings and homes. Many became dependent on assistance provided by churches and charities. In response, the Church Society established the Mission Zone Fund, which sought to meet both the physical and spiritual needs of people in the inner city through parish-based welfare. In 1911, the Church Society became the Home Mission Society. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, the Mission Zone Fund extended the reach of its services to include both Sydney and Wollongong. When Howard Mole was appointed Archbishop of Sydney in 1934, he radically transformed the social welfare provided by HMS from parish-based welfare to diocesan-based social services. This provided the opportunity to address social issues more broadly than could be achieved through individual parishes or the Mission Zone Fund. In his letter to parishes for the first winter appeal in 1934, Archbishop Mole wrote, "It is one of the characteristics of the Christian faith that it's concerned with the needs of men's bodies as well as their souls. The Master who fed the hungry and healed the sick surely calls upon us to minister generously, by one means or another, to the needs of our less fortunate brothers, and under no compulsion save that of a sense of Christian duty and love." 1943 saw Mildred Simmons appointed as the parish nurse in Surrey Hills, Redfern and East Sydney. Travelling on foot, her role was to care for the sick and aged. Some, she found, were frail and bedridden for weeks with no assistance. In 1952, Simmons was instrumental in establishing the first Chesalon home in Summer Hill. Meaning fortress or a place of hope and security in Hebrew, this Chesalon was the first of many such homes to live up to its name. After World War II, state and Commonwealth governments began to assume responsibility for social services. Organisations like the HMS were recognised as a natural conduit for government assistance in providing effective welfare programs. By the time of Archbishop Mole's death in 1958, HMS had evolved from its initial function of church planting to also being a large, centralised and highly effective diocesan welfare agency. From the late 40s till the early 80s, a key figure in HMS was the Reverend R.G. Fillingham. He understood HMS's work as a missionary endeavour. In 1976, he told an interviewer, "Our basic work is propagating the gospel and reaching people whom the church would otherwise never reach. We do at least as much preaching and teaching as caring, because caring is our way of opening up evangelistic opportunities. Just as overseas missionary societies operate hospitals, so do we, and for the same reason. We're like a missionary society operating right here in Sydney." During the 1960s, a number of key programs and divisions were established, including adoption services, family support and counselling services, and the op shop division. HMS continued to expand in the 1970s with regional offices in socially disadvantaged and needy areas, including the Illawarra, Cabramatta, Parramatta, Liverpool and the Inner West. And in 1976, the Kingsdean Special School was established. In 1984, HMS merged with the Church of England Homes, and by 1990, the Society had over 1,000 staff and as many volunteers, and operated over 100 different programs throughout the diocese. By 1996, HMS had become one of Australia's largest non-government welfare agencies, assisting hundreds of thousands of people each year in the Sydney diocese, an area containing 63% of the New South Wales population. With the introduction of a new regionalisation in the diocese in 1996, the official responsibility for the planting and support of new congregations was passed from HMS to the regional bishops. However, HMS's support for parishes continued, particularly in the area of cross-cultural ministries. In 1997, the Anglican Home Mission Society changed its name to ANGLICARE. Whilst much has changed in Australia and in Anglicare since 1856, the core principles that prompted its establishment back then are those we still carry with us now and into the future. First, our commitment to promoting the gospel of Jesus Christ as the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. And second, to serve as an organisation within the Diocese of Sydney that's capable of vital work beyond the resources of individual congregations. It's these principles that continue to shape our vision, our mission, and our values as we respond to the challenges of the day and those of the days to come.